Welcome back to Adventist News Today. In today's message, Pastor Veith breaks the silence on what he calls one of the greatest deceptions in modern theology. He challenges popular interpretations and goes directly to Scripture to uncover the true meaning behind the mark of the beast. Is the mark a physical object? Is it a technological system? Or is it something far more spiritual and dangerous? Stay with us as Pastor Veith carefully unravels Revelation chapter 13 and answers the crucial question: what and who is the mark of the beast?
And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now here's another mouthful that we have to unravel. So everybody of every class, rich or poor, will have to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. Now modern theology, which is a deceptive theology, tells us that this will be a barcode or similar, which will be necessary for you to access your bank account. The question, of course, is God concerned about the way in which you access your bank account? Because currently we use a credit card with a code on it to access a bank account. Now, if that were stamped on the hand, would God then deem you unfit for heaven? What is the difference? So, is this a literal mark or is it not? We have to look at the context. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. It's not the number of a barcode. It has to do with a man. And his number is 666. So we now know it's the number of the beast, but it is also the number of a man. Now, where do we hear this word man in the Bible? Doesn't Paul speak about the man of sin and all the attributes that are associated with him? And he has a kingdom which is called a beast, and it has a number. So it is the number of the Roman system under the leadership of one man. And of course, this is a continuous kingdom, so it's not one particular leader or pope that is mentioned here, but the principle of all power resting in one man. And if they all speak ex cathedra infallibly, then one cannot change a precept of a previous one without denying infallibility. So it is a system that has a continuity that cannot be changed. So it's almost like the Medo-Persian system, because what went out of the mouth of a king could not be changed. And here you have exactly that same system. What comes out of the mouth cannot be changed. So the system has a man whom Paul termed the man of sin, who sits in the temple of God, pretending that he is God and having authority over God's people. And then he has a number. And we asked the Jesuits here, what are the letters inscribed on the Pope's crown and what do they signify, if anything? The letters inscribed on the Pope's mitre are these: Vicarius Filii Dei, which is the Latin for the vicar of the Son of God, which literally means in the place of the Son of God, which literally means Antichrist. So basically, what's standing on the mitre is Antichrist, Vicarius Filii Dei, and the Latin letters have numeric value, and if you add them all up, then you will find that they come to 666. But it's not only the number of his name, his title, it's also the number of the beast. So if you use different languages, if you use the Greek, for example, then the official designations for this kingdom are the Latin kingdom, which in the Greek is Helatina Basileia, and that works out to 666 because the Greek letters also have numerical value. And don't confuse an E value 8 with an E value 5, because the one has a little line on it which gives it a different value. And then the Italian church, official title, Italica Ecclesia, and the Latin-speaking man, the title for the papacy in the Greek is Latinos 666. They all work out to 666. So this beast power, the beast itself, the kingdom, has a number, 666, and the name of the man has a number, which is 666. Now it is beyond pure chance that you could have all of these together. So what is the mark of the beast? The only way we can find out what is the mark of the beast is to ask the beast, "Excuse me, beast, do you have a mark?" Sunday is our mark of authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. Obviously, Jesus in Matthew 5, from verse 17 onwards, says, "Do not think that I've come to abolish the law." And then he goes on to say, "Not one jot or one tittle will by any means disappear from the law until all things have been accomplished. Till heaven and earth disappear, not one jot or one tittle will pass from the law." But here they claim that they've changed the law of God, and they make it a mark of their authority. So this must be the mark of the beast.
The book of Revelation tells us that a power will arise and enforce worship contrary to the commandments of God. Revelation 13:16-17 says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark." Many people immediately think of modern technology, barcodes, biometric systems, digital currencies, or implanted chips. But Pastor Veith explains that the issue in Revelation is not primarily about commerce or technology. It is about worship and allegiance. According to the Bible, the final conflict centers around obedience to God versus obedience to man-made religious authority. The mark of the beast, therefore, is not simply something placed on the skin. It represents loyalty, authority, and submission to a power that opposes God's law. He explains that in Scripture, a mark symbolizes identification and allegiance. Just as God has a sign for his people, the beast power also has a mark. Pastor Veith connects this issue directly to worship and the changing of God's law, particularly regarding the Sabbath commandment. He argues that the controversy in the last days revolves around who humanity chooses to obey. Pastor Veith warns that deception is powerful because it often appears religious and convincing. He stresses that Christians must study the Bible for themselves instead of blindly accepting popular teachings. The issue is not merely economic restriction. The issue is worship. Who do we obey when God's commandments conflict with human tradition? That is the central question Revelation asks every generation. If this message challenged or inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Bible-based content and prophetic insights. Thank you for watching, and may God continue to guide you into all truth.